I'll start by saying hi. I'm Julie Loomis. I am the owner and founder of Azul Retreats, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Beth Barbosa. And we're going to dig into some of the frequently asked questions regarding all of our retreats. So, Beth, you want to say hi real quick?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Beth Barbosa, and I am here with Julia and as her co-facilitator this year. And I'm super excited to talk about the retreats with her and to answer some questions. So, Julie, should we dive into it?
Absolutely.
All right. So, Julie, how much is airfare?
Airfare, now, I want to preface this by saying I have been here more than 20 times, and airfare for years has been right around like approximately $600. Of course, there are so many variables that go into what that price is, how many seats are available, how far out or how close to the event you're booking your flight, even what day of the week that you're booking it on. But typically it's approximately $600. And I really encourage people to check out sites like kayak.com or Travelocity and look for any deals. Minneapolis in particular, we have a lot of people flying out of Minneapolis. We have direct flights on Delta and Sun Country during that time of year. Depending on where you might be flying out of, you might know that you want to grab one of those direct flights, and even if it is a little bit more, but I would expect to pay approximately $600.
So, Julie, which airport should everyone use, and when should everyone plan to arrive and leave the airport?
That is a great question. Very, very important details to consider. So everyone should be flying in and out of the Liberia, Costa Rica airport, which is airport code LIR. And landing approximately the day of the first day that the retreat starts, landing at approximately in that 12 to 2 o'clock range. However, we understand that sometimes flights may not be available during that time period. And this is just one of those details that it's great to get in touch with us when you are going to book, once you've secured your spot on the retreat, and then when you go to book the flight. If you're falling outside of that 12 to 2 o'clock range, then I would say, just make sure to reach out, and we'll just make sure that, yes, that's a great time slot that will work just fine. As far as departure goes, you're going to want to depart no earlier than 1 o'clock the last day of the retreat. And the reason for this is that we're just coordinating all of the participants so that everyone is traveling together, arriving and will be connecting with each other at the airport. So we want to try to minimize that gap in how long anyone might have to wait. So does that answer your question?
Yes, great. Thank you.
All right, perfect.
So once we're at the airport, how do we get to Monteverde?
Yeah, all of the in-country transportation will be arranged for you, starting with arriving at the Liberia airport. Everyone will be arriving within a certain time window, and we'll be able to we'll communicate this closer to the event, but everyone will be able to find each other regardless of what flight you're on or what city or country you might be coming from. Everyone can meet up at the airport. We will have a private shuttle for our participants only that will bring everyone straight up to Monteverde. Of course, you can stop along the way if you choose to take a couple pictures of the incredible mountain views. Just absolutely spectacular view, and there might be a chance that it might be sunset time. Regardless, it's just absolutely stunning views, so everyone will be traveling together. And then likewise, when it's time to leave Monteverde and head down to the beach in Samara, then we will all be riding together as well. And when our time is done in Samara, then we will also have a private shuttle take everyone back to the airport together. So no transportation should be needed outside of that, and it's all taken care of for you and included in the price.
That's awesome. So Julie, as we're thinking about this trip, what should everyone pack?
That is a great question. I get a lot of questions about this one. The number one word I would say to sum it up is layers. We will be, one of the really cool things about Costa Rica is that there are so many subclimates within this teeny tiny country, and we'll be in more than one of them. So in Monteverde, for example, we're up in the mountains. You can be hot and cold all within, the span of 24 hours. So bringing layers, right now I'm here and I have this long sleeve t-shirt on. If I go outside of where I am, I would probably put a sweater on. However, a little bit later, I might be really hot and wanting to be wearing capris and a tank top. But basically, and then certainly once we go to the beach, you want to dress for the beach. The loose fitting clothes, tank tops. Of course, maybe you might get chilly there. I'm a bit of a freeze baby, so I always have a sweater or sweatshirt handy. Shoes, you want to make sure that you have shoes that stay on your feet, closed-toed, that will stay on your feet, in case you want to do certain activities that might be required. For example, the zip line, if you choose to do the zip line, you need to have shoes that are going to stay secured to your feet so they don't fall off your feet. That would not be fun. And I'm not sure that they would even allow you to go. So having flip-flops, sandals that you can easily get in and out of, running shoes for your good solid walking shoes for walking really anywhere. There's in Monteverde we're up in the mountains, so there's a lot of up and down. I navigate everywhere in my flip-flops, and that's just one of my preferences. However, I do also travel with some good quality running shoes for when I go out walking. So just appropriate footwear. You don't necessarily need to bring hiking boots, but be prepared to again have footwear that stays on your feet that you can go hiking in comfortably, and that's really going to be up to your personal preference. You'll want to pack a jacket, like a windbreaker style jacket. Of course, we will give updates on the weather. I will either be in Costa Rica like I am now, leading up to the retreat, and I will give you a firsthand report of what to expect for the weather at that time, or I will find out from my friends who live here what the forecast is looking like, so we can you can hone in a bit better on what to pack at that time. But really, layers, and just dress like you would at home. You don't need to come with the special zip off pants or, any kind of special clothing. Just come as you are and pack layers, really. You may want to consider bringing a beach towel. I personally do not travel with a beach towel. I bring my, what's it called? A sarong. And that just kind of serves as my beach towel. If I'm at the pool at the hotel, I'll usually just sit on that or just kind of dry off with that. And that's just fine. It's just a little less bulky. So something to consider. You may also consider, in terms of doing yoga, by all means, bring a yoga mat if you'd like. I have found that I like to travel with, I think it's called like a yoga towel, where it's like a towel on the top, but then it has the little rubbery nubs underneath, and it's intended to put on a yoga mat. And for me, that's just a lot easier for me to travel with, because it folds up like a towel within my check bag, or I bring it in my carry-on. And I use that for yoga. So again, that's a personal preference. And I'm not sure, Beth, you've been here on one of the retreats. What are some of the things that you might consider packing?
Yeah, so Julie, I think you really touched on most of what I would pack. I would just say that, you don't need the hiking boots, but you will want, good walking shoes, especially for the periods of time when we're walking through the town in Monteverde. And there are, it's in the mountains, so there are hills, and, sometimes the flip-flops aren't going to do it for you in getting up those hills and down. So I would just really make sure you have a good pair of walking shoes for that. And that's probably my biggest thing that I can think of that I for sure would want everybody to bring. So otherwise, I think you touched on it.
And really, like you said, this is the mountains, and this portion of it anyways, at least roughly half of the retreat experience will be, but just the impact of going down those hills too, I know me personally, that takes a toll on my hips, and that's why it's so important to me to have the high quality shoes. So if that's an issue for you, just be something to be aware of. And I would say, you can pack an umbrella. You never know. Even though February tends to be a drier month, rain can come on any day. So just like it can anywhere. So you can buy an umbrella or bring an umbrella, but you can also buy one here. So, and actually that's a good thing to note. You can probably, if you forget something, you can probably buy it here. So, if you toiletries for sure, things like that. So, I think that's all I have to say on that.
All right. So Julie, what are the requirements for traveling to Costa Rica right now?
That is a really great question, and just one of those evolving situations at this point. When it comes to a passport, you have to have a passport that is valid at least 6 months past your return date. So that is one thing that you'll want to be sure to check right away to make sure that you have that. If it's time for a renewal, you'll want to make sure that you get on that right away. Depending on when you sign up, you may need to consider expediting the processing of your passport to make sure you get it in time. I would hate to see that window of time disappear on you and not have that passport in your hands. The big requirement that is just really going to continue to evolve, I imagine, is that you must be fully vaccinated 30 days prior. So meaning you need to have the second shot of the vaccinations to help prevent COVID at least 30 days prior to your arrival. And now we are requiring that everyone attending, all participants are fully vaccinated, and that is out of respect for the people of Costa Rica and as well as the other participants, just wanting to help everyone have the best possible experience and minimize the risk of anyone contracting COVID. So we are requiring that if you are not fully vaccinated 30 days prior, then you are required to purchase a special health insurance policy. Okay. And that would be an additional expense. But again, just getting that vaccination, making sure you are fully vaccinated 30 days prior is a Costa Rican requirement, and it is also our requirement for our participants. The other thing, regardless of the status of your vaccination, everyone has to complete online the health pass to produce a QR code that will be scanned when you, I think when you board, they need to, or excuse me, when you're checking in for your flight, they'll be looking for that, as well as when you land and you're going through immigration, then you will also need to scan that QR code at that time. The health pass it's just simple questions of, in the past 10 days, have you felt this way? Probably where are you going to stay, and things like that. We will verify that this is still a requirement when we are closer. And again, I mean, we don't know how this will be at that time. So we will make sure that you have all of those links. The links should also be provided for you to complete that health pass by the airline. I know when I came down this time that my airline did provide a link to what that was, as well as the current requirements for coming to Costa Rica. Now, on the flight home, currently, in order to get into the United States again, you'll need to have a negative COVID test result within 72 hours. We will, we'll continue to monitor that situation, and we would facilitate that. At this point, that would be an additional expense. But again, this is a fluid situation, and it's something that we will be communicating about as the retreat events get closer.
Great. So Julie, when everyone's traveling in Monteverde and to Samara, how should they pay for things, and how much cash should everyone bring?
Yeah, this question can feel a little bit overwhelming for a lot of people, but it's really not. It's actually very simple. Both U.S. dollars and Costa Rican colones can be spent pretty much everywhere here. It's very, very friendly in terms of spending. Also, if you have plastic, in particular, if you have a credit card or a bank card of any sort that doesn't have international processing fees, that's another fantastic option. So then you can just overall minimize the need to calculate how much cash. Maybe the amount of cash, that's going to be up to your comfort level, of course, but maybe I would say $200 or $300 cash, and in a variety of sizes of bills. You can bring $100 bill here and spend it, but maybe I would suggest to go with you know, a mix of 50s, 20s, you know, something along those lines. You can pull from an ATM here, both the Costa Rican money as well as the US money. So it really, of course, there are going to be ATM fees and likely some bank charges from them doing the, whatever translation or conversion that they need to do. So, if you can bring some, that's great. And then rely on some plastic that ideally does not have fees. That would be the way that I'd recommend going. But most things are included in the retreat. So this is, do you have your mind set on buying some souvenirs? What most of the tours that we would do, in addition to what is included with things that you might decide to do, most of them are going to take plastic, but there are still going to be a few that may not. So it's, really up to your comfort level.
What are the rooms like, Julie?
Oh, I love the rooms at both of the hotels that we'll be staying at. These are very unique hotels. It's not the cookie cutter where every room is exactly like the other rooms, and everyone will have private rooms unless you're traveling with someone and you want to share a room, then that is an option. There are private bathrooms in both locations, and just very simple, basic, clean rooms and free of the clutter, and they don't have TVs, and that's part of the experience, is just really getting back in touch with your own thoughts and enjoying the present moment, and not being connected to our devices and the TVs like what we're used to at home. Of course, we do have Wi-Fi at both of the hotels that we'll stay at, so of course you can watch Netflix in your room as you're winding down. We'll have breakfast at each of the hotels, fantastic breakfasts, and if there are hangout areas at each location. I'm sitting actually in one of the hangout areas at the Hotel Atardecer, which will be our home up in the mountains. And then at the beach hotel, there are a number of spaces, outdoor spaces, including near the pool, the dining areas. There are one or two hammocks at the beach, and just really, there are cool nooks and crannies to hang out at both locations. And giant bathrooms, or giant showers rather, with hot water, which of course at the beach maybe you want to go for a cold water shower, but they're great simple spaces. I love it.
I'm really curious, what will the food be like there?
I love the food here. For starters, let's talk about breakfast. Breakfast is going to include a few options. It's going to vary based on which hotel location we're at, but we can expect to have things like gallo pinto, which is the Costa Rican style beans and rice, which is fantastic. It's, black beans, rice, some red peppers, a little onion, some cilantro, and it's fantastic. And, things like scrambled eggs, fruits. Oh my gosh, I had pineapple this morning, and it just reminded me of how at home, when I eat the pineapples in Minnesota, they tend to, more often than not, they tend to ruin my tongue, just ruin my taste buds for a while. Here in Costa Rica, the pineapple is not like that. It is the sweetest, most delicious pineapple ever. And it doesn't do that weird, I don't know, destructive thing to your mouth. And
Yes.
oh, and the mango, and there's sometimes papaya and watermelon, and it's just fantastic, delicious fruits. Of course, toast and coffee, and coffee you can get at any time at either hotel. Lunch and dinner are going to vary. Lunch is going to be on your own. We found that it's just too much to schedule having a breakfast and having a lunch and having a dinner, and it tends to be a lot of food. And it's also just, if we have lunch scheduled at a certain time, then we're going to pull you away from being able to do an activity. So that's kind of out on your own at any of the local restaurants. There are some fantastic restaurants with great salads, pizzas, and you can think, oh, I get pizza at home, but every pizza is different, and there are some great pizzas here that are nothing like what I've experienced at home. So I always do enjoy getting pizza. In fact, I might get pizza later today, come to think of it. There's chicken, there's rice, there's, all sorts of meat and fish. You have no dietary concerns here. We can accommodate. We had someone a couple years ago with a lot of dietary restrictions, and we were able to accommodate those things, whether it's lactose intolerant, gluten intolerant, vegan, vegetarian, whatever. We will communicate that. We'll ask what your food preferences are once you get signed up, and we'll make sure that we accommodate that. That's really not an issue whatsoever. Dinners we'll have together, either at the hotel in Monteverde or out on the town here, or all of the meals will be out in the evenings when we're in Samara. And there, oh my gosh, they have some spectacular restaurants too. I'm getting hungry now.
Yeah, so one of my favorite places there, Julie, especially in Monteverde, was Treehouse Restaurant. And that is fantastic, not only for the food, but the atmosphere is just so different from really anywhere I've ever been. The restaurant built right into that tree, and walking, in and just seeing this big tree right there is just phenomenal and so inspiring. And I just loved it. And then of course their famous treehouse mojito, which is just probably my favorite drink there. And so that's where, when we get there, that's where I'll be heading up to after we get settled in. So anybody that wants to join me on that little short trek up to a treehouse restaurant can, come with me. So, and then another thing that I just loved about, Samara is the food is just so fresh, and, the little cafe just around the corner that I would have my coffee or, a little pastry, while, walking back from watching the sunrise. Was fantastic. So it is not without any wants.
Yeah,
so.
There's no shortage of fantastic food in either location, and actually they're on the web pages for the retreats. There are a few restaurants in each area that are listed, so you can check that out, and a handful of pictures of some of the food, including my favorite salad, which is from Choco Cafe. And so that's a great lunch option for people to just, come and go in between their activities, and, reconnect with the group after an activity too. So we'll definitely be checking out a number of places.
And I think too, just to kind of really point out as well is, you think of kind of food from, Latin America or, Central America, you think of, everything spicy, but it's not spicy.
Yeah.
And so it's very flavorful, but not spicy. So.
Yeah. Now it can be because there is hot sauce here, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's by default, it's not spicy. It's just, yeah, you nailed it. It's flavorful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hungry.
So that brings me to my next question for you. We talked about the food. What about the water? Is it safe to drink, or do we have to drink bottled water all the time?
Yes, it's safe to drink. Yes. The water is safe to drink here. I have always drank the water here. Always. I have been able to drink it. It has never, any of my retreats, any of my Habitat for Humanity builds I led here or participated in, or just vacations here, I've always had the water. Everyone has always had the water, and it's been without incident. It's not like some countries where it is going to have something that's going to make you sick. Actually, I have my water bottle here. That is another thing that I would definitely recommend packing is a good water bottle, and maybe even with something where it can be hooked onto something. That's really up to you. But yes, just bring a water bottle and plan to fill it up, because let's reduce that plastic use from the store-bought bottles of water, and let's save the money too. So yeah.
That's great. That's great
and
to hear.
And it's good water. I would actually rather drink the water here than the water at my house in the States. So yeah, it tastes very good.
That says a lot. So when we're there, will everyone have any free time? What does the agenda look like? And will there, be any group discussion time?
Yes, we will definitely we'll have group time together, but there will still be plenty of free time. And I would say, each morning an approximate agenda of course it's going to vary based on the weather and the activities that people are doing that particular day, but an approximate agenda would be obviously getting up, and we all meet up downstairs in the dining hall, or at the tables in the restaurant area at the beach, and we'll have breakfast, coffee, hang out a little bit. And depending on the topic of the day, we may have a little bit of group time. Then we might disband and then reconnect a few minutes later, to have allow a little bit of time to get ready for you to get out, get ready to go out on your adventures for the day. But then we'll reconnect to have some group time before everyone does that. Sometimes we will decide to have group time later in the day. The weather can sometimes dictate what, for example, if people choose to do the zip line, if right now, for example, it's not windy, it's not rainy, it should stay pretty good. Okay, just say this is in the morning. Okay, it's a good idea to do the first tour, or do it earlier in the morning. And in that case, we would probably have group time later in the day. Of course, there are some activities that are included and will be scheduled, outside of group time, that would be scheduled, depending on which retreat we're talking about. But there are also optional optional activities that you can do, like the zip line or a horseback tour or something like that, that not everyone is going to want to participate in. And maybe you just want to you just tour around town and check out some of what's happening in town, or maybe you want to go on a hike or do a different activity. So yes, we will have group time. We will likely recap, have a little bit of group time later in the day, like after dinner or during dinner. And other than that, you have lots of space to, even if you wanted to go take a nap, you're going to have time. It's going to be a very good balance, that will cater, we're able to cater to different interests, different energy levels of the day, what have you. Does that help?
It does help a lot. And I really like the idea of having those discussion times at various points of the day. And I just remember, 2 years ago when I was on the trip, and one of the best discussions times that we had was at nighttime in Samara. It was in the evening, and it was just sort of spur of the moment discussion that we all were just sitting around drinking a little bit of wine. And I think that was probably one of the best group discussions we had during the trip. So yes. Fantastic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing about Costa Rica is their saying is Pura Vida, and their attitude is just really go with the flow, and in kind of just like enjoy the journey, like mm-hmm. Like I say all the time, and that is when you approach things from that fluid, open perspective, those awesome conversations can pop mm-hmm. up, and they're not, you can't always plan those awesome things, and mm-hmm. and you don't, if you're rigid in what the expectation is for the plan, then that can limit the amount of joy that you do have in that journey. So that is part of the reason why the retreats are here is, we're going to keep an approximate agenda, but it's going to be approximate because that is ultimately part of the experience.
Yeah, that was just phenomenal experience. What kind of activities are there?
All sorts. Let's see, and it depends on which area we're talking about. When we're talking about the Monteverde area, hiking, obviously that is a big thing. Hiking can be involved in just going to check out town too, because we are in the mountains, and hills are implied. But there's also hiking in the cloud forest, which is pretty mm-hmm. incredible, and horseback tours, or like I've said, zip line. There's a hummingbird garden, and there are the suspension bridges that are also available at the zipline location. And mm-hmm. just because you go to the zipline location doesn't mean you have to go there for that. You can just go to experience the hummingbird gardens, and it's just so amazing to just see, so many hummingbirds just flying up everywhere. And once in a while they make an appearance at the hotel here too. So that is super cool. There are coffee tours. There's like a brewery type tour that I need to go check out and learn more about too. There are art shops all around here. There's so much cool art. Just a lot of activities. And then I know that a crowd favorite has been the orchid garden. And I think, Beth, you went on that when you were here. What did you think of that?
It was just so cool to go and see the orchid garden, because there's so many varieties of different orchids, and you walk through, it's a guided tour. It's not long at all. But in that short period of time, you get to see so many different kinds of orchid. I didn't realize how many different kinds there were. And one of my favorites while I was there was called the bacon orchid. And it literally, the petal of the orchid looks like a bacon strip. And it was just amazing to see this beautiful flower that looked like something that we all love to eat. So I would highly, highly recommend that. And I went on the zip lining adventure, and that was so cool to go up. And I've done zip lining before, but this was really cool to be up above the cloud forest and to do the zip lining down. The last one was about a mile long. And just to watch the cloud forest below you and be suspended that high up was just an amazing feeling, that you feel very free and very also a little bit scary, but it was just your insides. Mine was doing a couple, turns, but at the end of it, it was just so inspiring. And then there's the part of that zip lining. It's I know Julie's talked a lot about it in the past, and this is where I learned about it, was the Tarzan swing. And oh my gosh,
Yeah.
So cool. Like, you go up there and you're looking down at that ledge and you're about to jump off and you swing like Tarzan, and just swinging was just so cool. So
Yeah, I'll tell you my story on that is the first time I went to do that, I changed my mind, and I had the guide. I was at the top of the tower with the guide, and I'm all, hooked in, ready to go. And I'm just like, nope, nope, nope. And the guide is whispering in my ear going, "You are a butterfly. You can fly." And I'm like, no, I'm not. And I went back down, walked back down the tower, and then I did the last zip line into the, into the end. But when I went back a few years, maybe it's been 4 or 5 years now, and I was like, I'm doing it. And I climbed up there, and I was scared out of my friggin' mind. Now, I'm totally afraid of heights, and I totally have a fear of falling, but I was determined I was going to do it. I just was doing the zip line, like, I can do this. There's no reason why I can't do this. I went, and I could feel I had so much adrenaline pumping through my body as I was swinging. The swinging was awesome, but I also had so much adrenaline that every part of my body was just shaking. And then I got down from there, and I just, because you can linger and just watch people do it. Whereas when you're doing the zip lining, you need to keep going because you're traveling as a pack, and you have the guides helping you with that. So I lingered there, and I kept watching everyone go, and I'm like, I'm here. I'm going to do this again. And I went up there and I did it a second time. So it was awesome. So that's definitely my favorite part of that whole tour. And I got to say that the horseback tours, horseback riding isn't necessarily my thing, but anytime I've been on a tour here, the views are just, nothing compares. Now you can do, now let's talk about Samara. You can do a horseback tour on the beach and in some forest when we're in Samara. But to me, the views up in the mountains, the views here are incredible. And so I'd say do the zip line in Monteverde because it's above the forest and it's just stunning. And then the same thing with the horseback tour is if that's something that you would like to do, then I would say, you can't go wrong either way, but figure that out. Yeah. So then in terms of activities in Samara, you can I know a popular one is taking surfing lessons. There are a lot of surfers in that area, and so it's apparently I've never done it, but apparently it's a great place for surfing. You can also do the paddle boarding, snorkeling. You can paddleboard out to a little island and then do some snorkeling around there. The horseback tour, there's it's a cute little town, and there's stores to hop in and out of, and restaurants to just go grab a drink at or a snack at. Oh my gosh, one of my favorites is going to get at the natural market, going to get a fresh juice, like with beet and carrots, and that's like my favorite juice. But but just going into that store is a great time. There's a tap room there that they have a bunch of different Costa Rican beers, craft beers, and that's pretty cool. I like trying new beers, and that's something I enjoy doing, and so that's an option for people. What do you think? What other activities?
So my favorite part of Samara was waking up really early and walking down to the beach, which is only about a 5-minute walk, and watching the sunrise. It's just spectacular to see it, come up over the beach and the ocean. And then my kind of ritual was to walk back to the hotel and then stop off at the little coffee shop and get a pastry, and just sort of take in that early morning, quietness, and just really reflect on what the day is going to be like and what I kind of wanted to accomplish, and kind of the things that I wanted to do, and also to reflect on the day before. So that was my kind of favorite thing about Samara. So anybody that's wanting to see a beautiful sunrise, feel free to join me. It's just a beautiful walk on the beach. So
yeah. And now that you say that, just walking that beach really early in the day is one of my favorite things too. Just walking up and down, it's just a beautiful small little beach that it's such a great, and that's the thing about both areas, both Monteverde and Samara. Both areas are just fantastic areas that have this really chill, relaxed, safe, comfortable, welcoming kind of environment. And that goes into that beach area in Samara, definitely. So
what I like about that too, Julie, is when you're walking back from the beach. So, it's early in the morning, but as you're walking back, you see all the store, sort of popping up and opening up their, setting up their shop for the day, and just seeing the town kind of wake up and come alive for that day is a lot of fun. Just amazing to see. So be a part of that.
Yeah, that's something I always enjoy too, seeing that morning activity, like everything is just coming alive for the day. So that's not even like an activity. That is just like a being present kind of thing. And that you can step into that mindfulness at any point and turn it into an activity, whether it's just the people watching or whatever it is.
Yeah. Julie, who is the adventure retreat for?
That is a solid question. The adventure retreat is is about, it's for, men and women. They're both welcome to join, and really, 18 and older. People who are looking to really move past the craziness that we've all been through in the recent year or two, and just really start to embrace life and embrace living, and light their souls, relight their souls on fire, by having some adventures, seeing some new things, meeting new people, trying new foods, having these adventures, and just really, just really reigniting them, their souls, their existence, and who are people who are looking to travel, and maybe don't want to go through all the nitty-gritty planning of all of the details, and where to stay, and which hotel should I pick, or where should I even go, and all of those little details. All of that's taken care of for you. So maybe someone who isn't really comfortable traveling on their own, but wants to join up with a group, because they maybe don't have anyone in their life to travel with like this. It's for someone who's looking for more direction in their life, or trying to figure out, okay, what is this next phase? How do I want to go into this next phase of life? And just showing up with more confidence and joy in life, really. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. Very gets me excited to even hear you talk about that. So.
Yeah, it's just such a fantastic experience. So it's like very energizing for me too.
Who is the Limitless Living Retreat for, Julie?
Yeah, the Limitless Living Retreat is a fantastic retreat that we just created. It is for women and men who are in that 45 plus age range, who are maybe, wanting to do a gut check for where they are at this point in their life, or how they're going to move into this next phase of life. Maybe they're becoming empty nesters. Maybe they are already, fresh empty nesters. Maybe retiring, or have retired, or thinking about retirement, or maybe even just feeling stuck in their career, and not really wanting to stay there for, into their retirement, it's for people who are just ready to maximize, to really reset and recalibrate what their priorities are, and so that they can maximize the quality of life that they're living, and really just own it. It's so common. We have so many negative associations with aging, and that are between media and marketing and social media and stuff like that. There's so much of a cultural influence that people start to feel bad about their age, and this is about flipping that on its head, and just owning your age and owning your life, and recognizing, hey, this isn't working, or I'm done with this phase. I'm ready to really embrace the rest of my life, move into this next chapter, and who knows what other adventures. And it's about shedding all of that crap that who are just live your life and keep on living it regardless of your age. And it's really, there's a lot of influence it comes from the areas of the world that have the highest number of people who are living into their hundreds. And this is living into their hundreds, still having a good quality of life, still, walking down the street to, go grab their daily beer or something like that. Whatever they're still engaged with their community. They still have a sense of community. They still have close relationships, and they're still, feeling that they have a purpose. And it's really, we're going to reconnect with or connect with all of those different elements that we know, in terms of what are the commonalities between these different areas of the world, and see how we might bring those into our practices, so that we can have, these active and happy lives, indefinitely, and, within reason, of course. But so far, right?
Right.
So, it's just, let's take it up a notch and forget what society tells you. Let's live our lives, kind of thing. And
I'm
this is
so excited for this one.
Yeah, and this is somewhat inspired by our ages.
Yes, exactly.
So we're right there with you in this particular retreat experience, and we are embracing these things as well, and we want to share that with everyone who shows up for this retreat, and so that they can, feel as good as we do, right?
Exactly. And feel that community. That's the other thing too. So
yeah, that is the beautiful part of the retreat.
Yeah. So why Costa Rica, Julie, and what was your favorite thing about Costa Rica?
Oh my gosh, that depends on what moment I'm in, I think. Now I do have a favorite thing about Costa Rica. And I'll tell you that Costa Rica goes way back for me. I'm here now in Monteverde. Monteverde is my second home. This is my second home, period. This is the 22nd time I have been here, and I've been coming here for, I think, 16 or 17 years, something like that. I started coming here with a Habitat for Humanity Global Village group. Unfortunately, they don't have a Habitat for Humanity office here anymore. I'm not sure what the status is of that, but anyways, this place, Monteverde in particular, just the people were wonderful. The build experience was wonderful, but Monteverde in particular just like reached in my chest and grabbed my heart, and it was just, I need to be back here. And so I went through the training. I led my own team. The following year, I've since done led one other Habitat for Humanity group. And in case you don't know, that meant that I was building, helping to build houses here. In fact, I can almost see the roof of one of them, of the first one, the one where this all started. So that's just a very, very special element. But there's something about, like I said, the people and the experience, it was all fantastic, but it was something about this place. And there's a different, and that is my favorite thing about Costa Rica in general, and in particular, Monteverde and Samara. There's just such a slower pace and a freedom from the go, 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 go. It's about enjoying the journey. It's about showing up, mindfully and being present in the moment. And it's, things are going to take a little bit longer, and things may not go according to plan. And And that's something that in the, the culture within the United States can be very challenging to unwind from the more strict expectations that we tend to have about how smoothly things should go. And that, for me personally, has been one of the most incredible things. Is it's just really shifted my overall attitude in in a really positive way. Of course, I have expectations and the way that I want things to play out. But when they don't pan out that way, okay, what am I going to do now? Okay, and how can I change that to work, or whatever it is? It has really helped me. I personally, aside from retreats or leading, being a part of the habitat trips, I've had a number of trips, both with friends and then on my own here. And I have all of the work that I've done on myself. A lot of it has happened here, and I recognize what a special place this is, and that special Pura Vida energy that this place has. And it's just the perfect place to share with, to bring retreat participants here and share that with them, and see if they can, spark that same kind of change for the better in their lives, that spark that growth. And between the simplicity of the hotel and having everything taken care of for you, and then just the calm energy of the towns that we're in, it's just a very, very special place. And I love sharing it with. I should keep a list of how many people I've brought here. I mean, and that includes friends too, friends and family. So I've brought a lot of people here. And wow. I'm so excited to, for these next retreats and sharing that with more people.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's such a beautiful story. Yes, it is. You did. And it's I love hearing your story, and because it's so beautiful, and just how it really speaks to you, this place, and the people and the culture and your growth. And I love it. I love hearing that. And as for me as well, 2 years ago, I came and I loved it. I fell in love with it. And it's why I am returning with you and becoming, part of the retreats and co-facilitating. So to share it with other people. So, yeah. Gosh, Julie, this was so helpful, and it was wonderful to be able to hear and ask these, questions, and to get your perspective and answer. And, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk with me about it.
Yeah. And I mean, thank you for showing up, and in so many ways, and being here and being a part of this future. Well, not here, but being on our call today. But soon you'll be here. And thank you for that too.
Absolutely.
All right. So if you have further questions, if you want to get all of the details about the retreats that are coming up, visit LunaAzulRetreats.com. That's LunaAzul retreats.com, and check out what the upcoming retreats are. Join sign up for the mailing list so that you get the details right away. Drop a message on the website if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And I hope to share all of this with you, in future retreats as well. So, great. All right, Pura Vida.
Thank you, Pura Vida. Take care.